Hi, my name's Nigel and I'm from Solar Analytics. I'd like to explain the value of our services and how you share that value with end users. We think everyone who invests in solar should have quality third-party monitoring to maximise the benefit from their investment. By using accurate monitoring, end users can ensure that their solar system is working perfectly and that they are optimising their energy use to maximise savings. Most basic monitoring systems are unreliable, inaccurate, and don't provide much detail. Solar Analytics only makes solar and energy monitoring software. We're specialists in this field. In fact, we have more than 28,000 sites monitored in Australia alone. By monitoring performance using advanced algorithms and combining this with weather data, Solar Analytics can tell very quickly when there is a problem and is able to alert you and the end user. And as you know, there are many factors that can impact a system's performance over time, be they degradation, wiring issues, the inverter, voltage, or shading, to name just a few.
Hello everyone. Hello gentlemen, how are you doing today? Welcome to the virtual breakfast. Without further ado, I'll let Blair do the introduction.
All right, here we are in a slightly more personal and yet impersonal virtual breakfast for the day. But welcome to the WINAICO and Solar Analytics event. We've got a really exciting few or half an hour ahead of us, and I'm going to try and be as brief as possible as we deliver our messages, because Nigel and I have given us a challenge to get our speeches done in 3 minutes. It's going to be a challenge, especially as I'm a waffler. So I guess a bit of a public health and safety, look for the nearest exit, you're fine, good. There's a question and answers section in the bottom of the screens. We'll be taking questions in the later stage based upon what those questions are. So welcome to come along, and we're excited to have you here. Okay, so our exciting announcement in the pregnant pauses and quietness is that we have followed the market's development of larger cells and have started developing a brand new product line. So the new product line is going to be coming pretty soon. Most of you know that our existing series has mainly 60 cell products. We have the 330s, 330 blacks, 340 watt panels, but we were maxing out based upon the technology that's available at the market. Now, as you know, that most of the wafer manufacturers have started to expand their capacity into larger and larger wafers because they follow the semiconductor industry. We've got to adapt with that, which means larger modules are starting to come. And larger modules are going to need people to utilize split cell technologies. So we've made a huge investment and built up what we think the future is going to be for the next 1.5 years, 2 years. And so we now have a brand new production line and framing machine that can manufacture a split cell module. So increased reliability for us on that is we're now using a 9 bus bar design to increase reliability in the long run. Using the latest machines, it should enable us to get the reliability that we need to serve and create power for years to come. So a few benefits on the half cells. You guys have been probably selling it for a long time, but in cutting a cell in half, you do increase, decrease the resistivity and increase the current of the module. So we're quite excited to see how they come out, and we'll be shipping them fairly soon. We're anticipating getting them onto the market into probably in December, which is exciting. We're starting to build them now. Power classes for these modules are going to be a 375 watt module, and we're making another one that is going to be using the traditional WSP frame, and it's going to be a 333 watt module, which you may think is just going to drive you crazy, but it actually makes sense if you want to modulate a 1 kilowatt, 2 kilowatt, 3 kilowatt system. Yeah, very exciting. And that is me. Over to Nigel, who has some fantastic questions and answers.
Well, you need to unshare your screen, I think. Just while Blair's doing that, there we are. Hello. It's actually, it's kind of great to not see you. I can't see you, but I'm assuming there's a bunch of you out there. This is, this is, traditionally, for how many years? 7 years?
Almost 8.
Almost 8 years, this breakfast has been held at All Energy, as you know. So this is actually our inaugural non-hangover event. Traditionally, everybody is looking a little bit dusty, and there's lots of coffee and ham and cheese croissants. Hope you all got your breakfast packs. Kathleen and our latest recruit, Thornton, spent an enormous amount of time carefully packaging them all up. So I hope you're enjoying your tea and your merch and your, I think there was some healthy snacks in there, courtesy of Kathleen. So I hope you're enjoying that. I walked into the other room where the rest of our team's sitting today, and saw a couple of people I hadn't actually physically seen for some months, and was compelled to go up and hug them and slap them on the back. And I really wish I could see all of you and do the same, because, it's really noticeable that we're not getting to see all of you face to face. Last year at All Energy, I told a story about some of a short history of some of the things that Solar Analytics have achieved. And it was really interesting to look back at that and see where we've come in the last year since that last speech. One of the things that we've really been focusing on is, what's the core of what we deliver? And I'm sure that we can agree that only customers who trust you will buy from you. It's core to what we do. It's how we try and help. We can help you, in fact, prove why customers should choose you during the sales process by simply visualizing other customers' savings. And a lot of our solar retailers have the app at hand and are able to quickly and easily show the app and say, look at what Mr. or Mrs. Jones has saved since we installed their solar system. This is a real example of it. So it's a great way that we can actually help you to build trust with customers. We can also, of course, that helps to build positive referrals by showing customers what they are saving. They can tell their friends and colleagues exactly what they've saved, and that helps build confidence that you're actually delivering what they want. And of course, the majority, 99% of customers who buy solar buy it because they want savings. We can also, of course, save you a whole lot of time and money with a range of solutions which can add value and sophisticated service. And one of the big things for us, we're actually going through a really exciting phase right now of recasting our entire story, our entire message to the market, because of course we're now far more than just this little yellow widget that you've all known us for so many years. As you would have heard over recent times, we've launched a whole bunch of new services and really wanted to just highlight some of those new things. So, of course, the first one, which is most exciting for us, is inverter control. We've announced our first pilot partner, which is SunGrow Inverters, this has been a mission of ours for many, many years to get into the control space and be more than just monitoring, but also actively helping to optimize savings for customers and to help your customers be delighted by saving even more money. That launch of the SunGrow integration so far is restricted to two things. Number one, it's in pilot at the moment with about half a dozen of our really key partners who are testing it for us over the last few months. And then, of course, South Australia came along where we needed to add some relevant agent services. And so as a consequence of that, we then launched into South Australia. We haven't made an announcement about this yet, but I do happen to know one of our product managers was really excited the other day because not only have we got the required control functionality right now with SunGrow, but a new version of the API came through to us the other day, which actually allows us to do some of the dynamic control stuff that isn't required for a few months, but we're actually already testing that and way ahead of the market. So that's really exciting. Relevant agent services in South Australia, of course, is a new thing for us. It's a requirement, it's a mandatory requirement now down in South Australia. Number of relevant agents out there who can deliver services for you. And we're actually really excited to be in that space and helping to keep customers informed, deliver a quality service, and to actually optimize their savings, not just switch systems on and off in a dumb way, but actually, deliver as many savings as we possibly can. The other thing that we spend a lot of time doing is going back to basics on our performance management services. Performance management is intrinsic to everything we do, making sure that our performance management service is always improving, always being enhanced. We've actually already delivered a number of algorithm updates this year. We've got more coming, and indeed a whole lot of changes to our dashboard, which you will see rolling out over the coming weeks and months. In fact, all of that is designed to make our system more useful to you, more practical to you, to actually guide you, rather than just saying there's a problem, actually to guide you to what might be the ideal solution, or guide you to, how do I get in touch with that installer really quickly and easily, or how do I get in touch with that customer really quickly and easily. I've probably gone over my 120 seconds, but they were the 5 things that I really wanted to talk about. So I've done that, and I'm going to stop talking incredibly, amazingly. And have we got any questions that have come in so far, Blair?
We've had a few. So one of the questions that we've had is, when are the new modules going to be introduced to the market? Sorry, I was going to ask you your questions, wasn't I?
No. When are your new modules coming? Split cells.
Split cells, yes, so exciting. I do feel a bit like the kid who didn't study for the test, given your wonderful discussion point. So,
It's okay.
So I'm going to share some frequently asked questions, and hopefully we have got some information that will answer what you want to know.
Split cells are something that we're starting to see more and more and more, right?
We are, yeah, because the technology is just changing in the manufacturing side of the things that don't involve us, the wafer manufacturers. And it follows the semiconductor industry that is going for larger and larger and larger wafers so that they can have less wastage. So our next version of product will have 186 millimeter cells. There are some that are working on 200 millimeter cells.
Does this mean you're finishing with the 330? I just saw that pop up.
Yeah, so what is going to happen with the 330s is that the cell manufacturers that build those will eventually start to wind down the manufacture of those ingots. And so the 330s will eventually die in any format. Most manufacturers will stop manufacturing that format of module.
So this is ongoing transition. We've seen this ever since
every time I think
immemorial, right? Yeah. There's just this constant change of tech. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, just as soon as we get it right, where my OCD customers can be happy just multiplying 20 panels to make a 6.6 kilowatt system, they then have to get the calculators out again So hopefully we've addressed that a little bit with a 333 watt panel. So 3 of those gives you 9.999, which fits underneath the
10 kilowatt limit.
10 kilowatt limit.
Yeah. And yes, of course, there'll be a bunch of information that we share with everyone, including a recording of this webinar, which will be available, and the presentations and everything else. So we'll mail a copy out to everyone, thanks to the anonymous attendee for that question.
And we will also have a video that actually has noise. So very exciting. More technical issues. What's it there? Okay, so if we go to my screen, the questions was asked directly to me, module dimensions. So module dimensions will change for most of the industry as well. So the image that is on the presentation at the moment is of a standard WST module, 330. 1 meter wide. So considerations for you guys in your design is making sure that your rails are long enough that you've got your extensions. 1034 is going to be probably the standard. 1034, 1050 is going to be standard for the market moving forward. The 333 watt module is actually shorter than the WST module, and it sits under the 20 kilogram mark. Whereas the 375 watt panel is going to be around 21 kilograms. So I guess eat your wheat bix every time you're going to be doing one of those installations, and jump for joy when you're only lifting 20 kilograms, 19 kilograms up the roof. Cable management, we've chosen to continue to look after our customers in regards to the length of the cables.
Nice of you.
Yeah, I know. So 1.2 meter cables is our standard with genuine MC4s in Australia. That will enable you to leapfrog and mount landscape on these larger modules. So the question of a 6.6 kilowatt system, I think that you'll probably find in the market that 7.5 kilowatt is going to be the new trend. What are the questions we have?
Oh, there's more questions there. So I'm going to jump in there. Are we speaking to other inverter manufacturers along with Sungrow? Was a question that came in from one of our attendees. So the short answer is absolutely. We've actually been chatting with a whole lot of different inverter manufacturers over the last few months. It's all moving very, very rapidly, of course. We've run into challenges. You know, what is required down in South Australia with active inverter control is actually really hard. And quite a number of manufacturers we're talking to just actually can't do it yet. So it is very challenging, but fear not, we are talking to all of them. We actually had a product team meeting yesterday, and we're talking about 3 or 4 that we're very close on. We've got agreements in place, or almost in place with them, trying to decide, you know, which one do we jump in with first. So absolutely talking with other manufacturers. Yeah, there's another question there about other inverters. We'd be delighted to add more inverters. In fact, our goal is, I guess one of the things that we're going to try and explain to all our customers over the next year or so is that, you know, the technology that we use to get data, we really don't mind what it is. It may be our old favourite little yellow device or the black device. It may be a Sungrow inverter. It may be a meter. It may be a battery. It may be any type of inverter. So we're really, really happy to work with any technology where we can get good data that allows us to do what we want to do. There's a couple more there for you, Blair, around the introduction of the module.
Yep.
Cyclone Ratings. Is it Cyclone Rated for the NT?
So no, what we're going to be doing, we knew there was going to be a module change. So our WST 330s were Cyclone rated, but as soon as we expand the length of the module, we have to totally go back to the beginning for that one. So we do have the dynamic mechanical load testing done, which is for 250 kilometre-hour winds. But we will take it to get it certified in the NT for the 375.
They've still got a unique rating system up there,
yeah,
under the building code, right?
They sure do.
They've got their own version of the law.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Josh, I'd love to bring back 200 watt modules. But they're not going to happen, so give up. So the 200 watt modules were based on 5-inch wafers, and that became obsolete many years ago.
When Chris Stork was a young man.
Chris Stork was a young man.
Yeah.
Wade Allen and Richard Vargas, when are they going to be available to the Australian market? We will have the certification done at the end of this month, which will be then linking towards the CEC listing in around November. We'll start building in November, but realistically, by the time we have full capacity, full volume production on these things, it's going to be late December, early January for these modules, but we'll have all of it sorted moving forward. The 333 watt modules, that's going to be around about January, February.
I want to jump in here and just shout out. I don't know if everyone can see the screen of the team down there. Wave, where's my team? There they are. Life is not the same for our customers without Kathleen, right? Give us a shout out, team. They can hear you now. Like any great company, it's the team behind the scenes doing all the real hard work, and we've got a gang of awesome people there, and I know the WINAICO team's out there as well, somewhere on the screen, doing awesome things. A couple more questions here, and I'm conscious of time. We don't want to drag this out too much. There was a question here about new distributors for solar analytics other than supply partners. Maybe. To be totally honest, supply partners have been an absolute joy to work with. They're a wonderful, wonderful wholesale partner for us. So, we're not rushing to change or to add anyone else. We'll see what happens, but supply partners are doing a terrific job. So while ever that's the case, then probably not. And here's another one. I understand you're experiencing success as an RA in South Australia. What are your current customers say? Oh, that's a good question. So the bottom line is we launched RA services literally about 2 weeks ago. We had a bit of a slow start in the first week or so, but that just took off like a rocket in the last week or so. And we're seeing new sites coming on and ramping up really, really rapidly, which is terrific. For anyone who listens to Solar Insiders, you would have heard me banging on about this a lot because it is really confusing. It's a very tricky scenario with lots of different offers and not necessarily everyone knowing what they're offering or what the deal is or what their options are. So our sense is the market's still getting a bit of a feel for it, but certainly we're really excited by the number of sites that we're seeing coming online, and without exception, most people are saying we've got a pretty nice looking offer. So that's really, really good. Water drainage. Can the water come off your panels?
Yes. So we have the corner drainage they're existing at the moment in part of the MX series of modules. So the 340 watt panels. They are particularly good for low angle because they don't get the dirt build up on the base of the module plate. The 375 watt panels, as they come through, will not be they'll be a WST frame. So if you want the MX series or the Gen 2 corner sections, they're going to be on the 333 watt panels as they come through. We're at the moment deciding whether or not we want to have a full black module as the 333 MX or MG series. Just trying to work that out yet.
Awesome. Big shout out to Roland Lawrence, who, for the sake of keeping things consistent, is very hungover. Thanks for the effort, Sam.
Jack Long, your question about repeating when the WST 375s will be available. We're anticipating December in small volumes. I'm building probably about 600 kilowatts of them, maybe more. But it's just making sure that we have the CEC approval to get them done. That takes around 4 weeks to process. Even if you have any friends in there, it doesn't help. You just have to make sure that you follow the process and get it sorted. So 375s, I'd be aiming to bring them in heavily in the January, late December, January. That quick.
That's fantastic.
So when you manage your own inventory, it's a juggle, is trying to keep enough stock in for the end of the year. Yeah. And then ramp up the new product.
And with Victoria coming back on stream now, South Australia's gone through a little dip. Talked with Eddie May on the podcast about this the other day, and actually customers seem to be a bit nervous down there at the moment. So sales inquiries and A lot of other things. We think there's going to be a little dip over the next maybe month or so in South Australia, but welcome to the solar coaster. Victoria's just switched back on. So presumably there's going to be pretty strong demand for the next few months in Victoria that may give us a good run up to the end of the year, right?
Yep, absolutely. Cole's asked an interesting question about utilising 333 watt panels on store edge. And there is some, you put it there?
Storage,
So storage has 6.64 kilowatts. So I understand that there's a rule, an unwritten rule on module approvals where half a module will enable you to fit under the limit of the maximizing of the inverter. So if we're on a 5 kilowatt inverter for Fronius, which is quite common, you can put 20 panels on, which gives you 6.66666. So following the third rule. So it's bang on the max of what the CEC will allow. But the storage is a 4.98 kilowatt inverter maxing out. So then you have to massage the rules a little bit to make that work.
Details, very important things.
Yes.
Someone's asked a question here. Oscar, thanks for the question, Oscar. Could we explain the performance management and other inverter control features you've mentioned will be possible soon with SunGrow inverters in addition to the usual monitoring offered in this latest trial? Yes, I can. So 3 aspects. Performance management in our general sense is all about us not only telling you what the solar system produced, but also what it should have produced. So we do that by using solar radiation data, weather data, Bureau of Metrology data. We can age the array. We take into account angles, shading, all those kinds of things. So we say, here's what the inverter produced, or the solar system produced, and here's what it should have produced. So that gives you a measure of, is the system doing what it's supposed to do? That's the core of our unique difference, if you like, is our performance management. Excuse me. The other inverter control features are really a requirement that's come out of South Australia. We expect that to roll out Australia-wide at some point. And in fact, we know conversations are going on with government in other areas already. What that is about, in simple terms, in exactly the same way that AEMO can currently send a message to a coal-fired generator, a gas generator that says, please ramp up to meet demand, or please ramp down because demand's falling, or please adjust voltage, or please adjust frequency. They now need to be able to do that with distributed solar as well. And that's effectively what they're doing, is taking the wider market rules and applying it to distributed solar in South Australia, which is actually very cool. It's extraordinarily cool to think that you could centrally be controlling tens of thousands of solar systems for the benefit of the grid.
I think it's amazing.
It's amazing.
I'm so excited with it. You know, it's a pain in the ass in the way that it was implemented.
Oh yeah.
And I think that there was a complete mess in that way. But just the potential to not have people say no export, but yeah, we want your export, but when we want it. And I think that's quite cool.
It is. And I can remember talking to distributors years ago saying, oh, you know, we hate export limit rules too, because there are times when we really need that power and we can't access it if it's just a hard export limit. What dynamic export control means is it gives a central body, AEMO, through relevant agents like us, the ability to say, well, we need more power, ramp them up, or we need less power, ramp them down, or in this area, there is going to be a blackout or going to be a brownout unless we play with some control settings on the inverters. And so along with the other relevant agents, that's what we'll be able to do. It's actually really exciting. It takes us to Smart Grid 2.0. The coolest thing about this is actually that what it does is it enables more solar onto the grid, which is actually one of our core mission statements, is to help get more solar onto the grid. And by getting smarter in places like South Australia with such high penetration of solar, the only way more solar is going to be allowed onto the grid is if it's dynamically controllable, to make sure that the grid is managed really, really well.
And it's quite an exciting time as an industry, because we don't have the most intelligent grid in Australia. Like, I think that when I first heard about smart appliances being able to ramp themselves up and down and yada, 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 I was like, oh, that's really cool. But then Australia's network is not that intelligent. And if we can roll this new technology out across this network that we have right now, I think that's going to be quite incredible.
It's actually, we're leading the world. Great interview with Audrey Zimmerman, I think it is, from the head of AEMO, talking about the fact that, you know, Australia is ground zero for this tech. We're leading the world, which is super, super cool. A couple more quick questions here. One from Costa. Hi, Costa. Have we seen a significant uptake of solar analytics at SA due to the new requirements over the past few weeks or so? Short answer is yes, mate. It's been really good. Like I say, it took a little while to get going, and now we're starting to shoot up, and we're seeing more sites come online every day, which is unreal. What other changes are on the horizon in terms of further changes to energy billing data on solar analytics? That's a really good question, Jared. We've actually made a major change already this year and introduced we're now one of the best tariff engines in the business. I don't know if you've got in there and had a play, Blair. I'll have to show you this afterwards.
I'd like to. I'd like to know more.
You can actually make all sorts of adjustments for all sorts of tariffs so that you can get a more accurate financial assessment of your savings and so forth. So we already rolled out phase 1 of that. Phase 2 and phase 3 are coming probably over the next 3 to 6 months. SA's taken up a little bit of extra time for us, so we're running a little bit behind on those standard things. But we have a long-term vision to not only be able to show customers savings, but to actually make them more and more accurate, to make them more and more easy, and to allow them to compare to their bill. Because what happens in a lot of cases, people's bill come in, they don't understand it, doesn't make sense, they go on our app, they have a look, and they want to really easily be able to compare it. And then the other part of it, of course, is, hang on, if I change retail provider, would I save more money, or would I make more money? And so a bill comparison service or a provider comparison service is just quietly something that's on the radar.
So we're going to probably have to wrap up, mate.
We are going to have to wrap up. There's only one more question which I'm going to answer really quickly, which is about the commercial front. It appears we've lowered the cost of subscription at the request of installers. Yeah, good point. Thank you for that. That's absolutely true. We did introduce a new commercial subscription product this year in our latest price list with a lower priced long-term commercial subscription offer. So if you haven't seen our latest price list, do ask one of the sales team for a copy of that. You know, mate, despite the fact that we promised each other we weren't just going to talk the whole way through this, we pretty much talked the whole way through this, haven't we?
Yes. We've done really, we listen to our customers really well, but we have kind of addressed their questions. So I'm going to summarize my bullet points today because it's important.
Split cells.
Split cells.
I like it.
9 bus bars.
Not 8, not 10.
Not 8, not 10. I think that 9 is a good number with light reflective ribbons, all that fancy, exciting stuff. 333 watt panel in February. 375s December. We'll start ramping them out. New prices will come out in quarter 4. So as we get closer to the time, there's no point in selling it if you don't know it. 35mm frame is going to be critical. Design size is 1038 in width. We're immensely excited, and data sheets, preliminary data sheets are already available. So we can start sharing those. We're hoping to finalize it at the end of this week. There's a new website on the winaico.com.au website. Has got a couple of placeholders there for the 333s and the 375s. So as soon as you want the information, we'll get it to you. And yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be really fun.
That's cool. And maybe a closing statement from me. You know, as we always say at this breakfast every year that we've ever had it, one of the best things about being in business is dealing with all of you. You know, for people like Blair and I who've been at it for a year or two, you know, we've now got a family of friends and people that we care very deeply about, who we've, you know, watched the kids grow up and watched us all turn grey, and, you know, really committed bunch of staff working really, really hard. So we wanted to thank all of you for all your support and sticking with us and staying interested, and hopefully for sticking around for this half hour of you and I just banging on as usual. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you for coming along. Thank you for your support. It's been 8 years since I started this company. My daughter's getting older. I'm getting older. I've got less hair. But it's just been such a wonderful journey. And I'm really glad to have you all here, even if it's virtually. I'm looking forward to hopefully next year when life gets to become a bit more normal. and I can have a beer with you or a coffee at least. And you can't even use the WINAICO Keep Cups at the moment, but oh well, we'll get there.
Yeah.
And this will not defeat us. If you can survive on the solar coaster, we can survive this.
Yeah,
and team in Melbourne, go out and install. It's exciting.
Thanks, Storky. All right, we should wrap it up there. Thanks again, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great rest of the week.